all of these E. Jean Carroll videos, when we go into this Trump case in New York, it's going to go on for a while. I'm going to be talking about it. And the word RAPE comes up a lot. I'm just going to call it. Do women falsely accuse men of that crime? Yes, especially when money's involved. Do men commit that crime? Yes. And so I don't want to be a participant on either side of this thing. I'm only going to give my observations. That's my bias. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Here's the weird thing on Tucker Carlson.
Anti-civilization activist Reid Hoffman, for example, is a major Haley supporter. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn. He's a friend of Jeffrey Epstein's. He was a visitor to O Island, in fact. He's also the guy who funded E. Jean Carroll's sexual assault case against Donald Trump.
Okay, so that was weird because I'd heard a rumor all last week that her whole lawsuit was funded by someone else. It was funded. And that's my first suspicion of it, is that it is strange to me that she's a victim and she never went to the police. She got into this lawsuit after it was funded by a big Democrat donor.
Hoffman's money has also helped to prop up the authoritarian governor of California, Gavin Newsom, as well as many others on approximately the same team. This cycle, Reid Hoffman is all in on Nikki Haley.
Even when he's going to fund an alleged Republican like Nikki Haley, he's funding the one candidate that the far left is trying to use to take out Trump. And that's Nikki Haley. And if not Nikki Haley, then Gavin Newsom. See, when you start seeing him fund all of Trump's enemies, it shows a personal vendetta against Trump. So this E. Jean Carroll I'm proposing is just another political hit against Trump. It's possible. Here's the headlines at New York Times. Jury selected in second Trump defamation trial brought by E. Jean Carroll. And then here's E. Jean Carroll to testify in second defamation trial against Trump. So that's today. They've got the jury now. E. Jean Carroll's second defamation trial against Donald Trump continues Wednesday morning in Manhattan federal court with the start of witness testimony. So they're going to put her on the stand. This week's proceedings mark Carroll's second defamation trial against Trump. In May, a jury found the former U.S. president liable of sexual abuse and defamation, awarding Carroll $5 million in damages. Trump attended jury selection in the trial. He left the courthouse around 2 p.m. for a campaign event in New Hampshire and was not present for the opening statement. So he's half in the trial watching them select the jury, which in New York is going to mostly be a bunch of Democrats that hate Trump's guts. Carroll said that Trump raped her 3 decades ago in the changing room of an upscale Manhattan department store. She came forward with her account in 2019 with an excerpt from her book, What Do We Need Men For? A Modest Proposal. Okay, this is my first thing I smell a rat. She releases the information on a book tour. That is the first time anyone hears of this story that Trump attacked her, was when she was selling a book. Could you have told any of your friends or bragged about it or been upset about it or cried about it? And by the way, you'll see later, she is a sexual weirdo. On Anderson Cooper, I've got a clip of her. Okay, so she's selling a book. There's other details that are kind of weird about this thing. Trump, who was in the White House when Carroll's claim surfaced, quickly attacked, saying, I've never met this person in my life. She is trying to sell a new book, which she is trying to sell a new book, that should indicate her motivation. It should be sold in the fiction section, he said. Carroll sued him in 2019, maintaining that Trump's denials smeared her reputation, sparking online abuse and serious threats. Here's Carroll was not able to sue Trump for sexual assault as the incident fell outside of the civil statute of limitations, okay? So Trump, it had happened 30 years ago, so they can't bring it up under New York law. And then look what the Democrats do in New York. But in 2022, New York State's Adult Survivors Act gave adult victims of sexual misconduct a 1-year window to sue their abusers for incidents outside the statute of limitations. That was a handmade law they changed to go after Trump. Democrats in New York changed the law in 2022 for a 1-year time that someone in New York could go and then the law would go back to what it was. I smell a rat. So here's Kaplan, the judge, instructing the jury and everyone on what they're allowed to think about Trump. Quote, facts that were definitively decided in the previous trial include the following. First, Miss Trump, in fact, sexually abused Miss Carroll by forcibly and without her consent inserting his fingers into her hoo-hoo. Now, he says Trump in fact did that. They did not prove that he in fact did that. That's a big no-no to me. You did not prove that. Okay. There's no video. It's he said, she said. She's the only witness who said it, which is often the case in a rape, given it's an intimate, thing. It's not done in public. Okay. So these are always he said, she said. Second, Ms. Trump's June 21st and June 22nd statements were false. Again, they can't know that. And this judge is demanding you believe that. And Miss Carroll did not make up her claim of forcible sexual abuse, Kaplan said. Now, Kaplan's saying those are facts. I don't know that those are facts. Kaplan is demanding the jury act in his courtroom. He has the right to do it as a judge, Democrat judge. Quote, and because you must accept them as true. That is psycho. I'm quoting him. This is the judge telling people exactly how they must think. Doesn't this make your skin crawl? This is weird to me. And because you must accept them as true, Kaplan later said, quote, this trial is not a do-over of the previous trial, which determined those facts. What remains for you to decide are only two very limited issues relating to damages for Mr. Trump's publication of those two statements. So Trump published that she was not his type, and he said she was a liar and a fraud. Okay. And apparently that costs you more than $5 million now to say against someone in New York. And then here's Sean Crowley, one of E. Jean Carroll's attorneys, said in her opening that jurors needed to impose damages that would stop Trump from continuing to smear her client. That's one way of saying it. Another way of saying is, give me as much of Trump's money as possible. Those are two opposing claims. And again, I don't know the difference, right? Because E. Jean Carroll might actually be being damaged by Trump, where they go like, look, you got to find this guy so he stopped saying these things. The other side of it is Trump is innocent and just defending himself in public, and he's not going to stop saying them no matter how much money it costs because he's actually innocent of the charge. I don't know which it is. Quote, he is continuing to tell those lies to this very day, earlier this month, last week, even today. You will hear that as Trump faces trial over how much money it will take to get him to stop defaming Miss Carroll, he keeps doing it. He sat in the courthouse. You saw him, Crowley said. And by the way, this lawyer makes a bigger cut if they can get the jury to get Trump for more money. So, I can't tell whose motive is pure here. Quote, and while he was sitting there, he posted more defamatory statements, more lies about Miss E. Jean Carroll and this case. By our count, by our last count, 22 posts just today, she said. Think about that. Think about that when you consider how much money it will take to get him to stop. Look at that's a lawyer. Scumbag leech. To all my friends in the legal profession, oftentimes the lawyers tell me more than anyone else not to trust a lawyer. Okay. Asking for money. Quote, at the end of this trial, it will be your job to decide how much money Donald Trump should pay for what he's done to Miss Carroll and how much money he should pay it will take to get him to stop defaming her so that Miss Carroll can maybe finally live her life in peace, Crowley said. They're acting like she's some kind of a, shrinking violet. Wait till you see an interview with Miss Carroll. We submit that the number should be significant, very significant. Donald Trump, after all, is a self-proclaimed billionaire. Trump's lead attorney in the case, Alina Habba, contended that Carroll was responsible for the backlash against her. And now this is the other side. The evidence will show that Miss Carroll has made Trump the focal point of her new identity now. We will show that she frequently promoted and publicized every development with her first lawsuit against him herself, Habba claimed. She doesn't want to fix her reputation, ladies and gentlemen. She likes her new brand. I agree with that. I saw her, the way she acts in public. Let's move on here. Here's Brianna Price on Twitter. The fact that E. Jean Carroll went on TV and said rape is sexy, quote, and I'll get to that quote on video. And she can't even remember the year Trump irked her should automatically tell you what she wants is money. She usually victims would have evidence and provide proof. I don't know how true that is, but I do know that in the last court case, she could not name the date that she was raped, because then they probably could have looked at security cameras and seen if Donald Trump was actually in there. She could. So she goes, oh, I only know it was 30 years ago. I don't know what year, don't know what month, don't know what day. Okay. A traumatic injury? Maybe. We're going to keep going because here she is on Anderson Cooper.
You don't feel like a victim?
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished. Which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Oh, okay. These are people that traipse in circles where I don't talk that way. I mean, these are weirdos, but this is the creepiest thing you'll ever see. Watch this. This is like Hungry Like the Wolf on Anderson Cooper. And he's just like fumbling over himself over her last comment.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Holy smokes. Okay. In case the Democrats are using this to influence your vote, they're trying to get you to not be able to stomach voting for someone who grabbed Miss Jean Carroll in a dressing room. I'm just going to go to Tara Reid, who was an assistant of Joe Biden, who accused him of doing the exact same thing. In March 25th, 2020, interview with Katie Helper, Tara Reid alleged that Biden pushed her against a wall, kissed her, put his hand under her skirt, penetrated her with his fingers, and asked, "Do you want to go somewhere else?" Reid told the national NPR in its April article, and it goes on. But that's creepy, creepy Joe Biden. And you'll go, they're both adult victims, both E. Jean Carroll and Tara Reid. Well, here's an excerpt from when James O'Keefe found Biden's daughter's diary. Okay, here's Biden's daughter's diary, who left it in a hotel room. Remember, this is where the FBI broke into James O'Keefe's house and took this back because now they're Biden's, retrieval team, which they would never have done with Trump. They'd have exposed this everywhere. Here's a page of the journal where she says in that top circle, "Was I molested?" She said, of her father. Here's down below. She remembers being overly sexualized and at a young age, showers with my dad, probably not appropriate. Just in case they're trying to use this to weaponize against Trump, I just want you to say that both candidates and Clinton proved it all. Clinton showed and even admitted guilt in certain areas, Clinton showed that the feminists do not care about these issues. Okay, they covered for Clinton. They attacked his accusers. These are Democrats. Democrats do not care about the claims of E. Jean Carroll. They're using this, they're pretending to care to try and win against Trump. And I'm only saying, oh, really? If you want to take a look at who did what, take a look at what Biden did. I'm Doug in Exile.